right, so iOS 18.2 has been around in a beta cycle for 4 releases now, and this is the week of Thanksgiving here in the US, so we did not get a new beta for iOS 18.2. Not surprising, Apple tends to give some of their employees off for this week, and this year was no different. So I wanted to recap its current state, how stable it is, how battery life is, what to expect, and when to expect the actual public release. Let's jump right into it. All right, so like we said, we've been running now 18.2 betas for the better half of 2 weeks now, and we have some takeaways. First things first, let's talk about all of the Apple Intelligence features that are now coming with this release. So we've touched on these in the past, but once you are off the waiting list, you now have access to something called Image Playground, which will help you generate images. And obviously, Apple Intelligence is one of the main sources of want for these upgrades, and they will be for the next few beta cycles. So 18.1 betas, 18.2, 3, and possibly even 18.4 is what's going to be used for new Apple Intelligence features. And as you can see, it worked very well for what we just clicked on. We can say done, and that is going to be automatically saved in that place you just saw with our other images, and they do come out pretty good. But if you want something specific, some items are not available to be made, like you can't say, make me a picture of Mickey Mouse wearing sunglasses, just doesn't happen. But you can say things like, make me a picture of a mouse with sunglasses on, and that works. Going off of some of the other items here, just by selecting a couple, you can see how quick it actually does generate images that look very true to life. So Image Playground's fun, but it's going to be one of those quick, use it once and done features. I don't see people going back to this regularly. I don't see people generating images and then saying, hey, look what I just did beyond one go around. One thing I do think that's going to be more useful that a lot of people will actually utilize is genmoji. So if you actually go into your text messaging app, it's kind of hidden, unfortunately, and tucked away. But when you are in the app, you can click on the emoji icon, and then you have this new kind of rainbow looking smiley face with a plus sign over it. That is your genmoji creation icon. And as you can see, once that comes up, you can now describe a genmoji to create. I have actually used this pretty regularly. I actually think this is a very fun, useful tool to have. So hypothetically, say you want to create a, let's do smiley face wearing a Santa hat. And you can say done, and it'll take a couple seconds and give you a couple results here. So a lot of these do look very similar, but they will keep creating as you keep scrolling. So pretty neat. I can definitely see people using these quite a bit. And the beauty is, and why I went to a non-iPhone user's phone, when you send it, it does work. It just shows as an image that's been sent. So just keep that in mind, but it does work across platform. Not as ideal as in an iPhone, but still pretty cool. And go into here, you can actually also use these items as stickers if you want as well. So as you can see, that's not really wanting to work, but there you go. When you drag it on top of something, it works that way. Next up is going to be visual intelligence. Visual intelligence actually has been getting a lot of use from us. I will say this is something that can grow in time and be more polished. Obviously, it's still in the beta, but it gives me hope and excitement to see what Apple ends up doing when this is actually released. Image intelligence is utilizing that new capture button on the side by long pressing it. And now what you're able to do here is get another item you might want some information on, tap on the button at the bottom to capture it, and you can ask or search. So if we say search, you can see it will come up with results for the case or what the device is in front of you, and it works pretty good. You can point this at buildings, you can point it at businesses, and it should be able to give you hours. If it's a restaurant, it should show you menu items. The potential's there. Haven't seen it fully executed though correctly just yet, but we'll have to give it another chance in the near future. So let's do this one again too. We'll just say search and see if this pulls up as a thermometer, and sure enough it did. Pretty neat. I haven't had any issues with this, but I can see where this would be much more beneficial than some of the other Apple Intelligence features in this beta. However, we'll have to see long term what it ends up being. Aside from those Apple Intelligence features, those are the main ones. ChatGPT or GPT has been here for a little bit, and it is definitely useful than Siri. But when coupled together, it's definitely more, it's more aware, I guess you can say. It's more reliable, and it does make it much more acceptable to use. So you actually have prompts in settings if you choose to use this under Apple Intelligence and actually under extensions where you can do this and not even need it to request your command to say, yes, please use ChatGPT. It will actually just use it without needing additional input for you. So depending on how you feel and how your comfort level is with things like that, that makes it a little bit more of a seamless experience also. AI features aside and Apple Intelligence features aside, as I was doing all this, I have this out actually to show you. This phone has actually been getting warm just by running those few items. Nothing crazy, nothing intensive, but just holding it has been getting incredibly uncomfortable, so to speak. So you saw we hit over 100 at one point there, depending on where you're touching the device, and it's definitely warm to the touch. That has been an ongoing issue with these betas. Hopefully that will be fixed in the RC that should be coming, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I am happy to say, though, there has been no more system crashing, at least. It has been much more stable than the prior betas, and battery life seems to have stabilized as well. Still not definitely there. It's obviously still a beta, but it is reassuring to see that we're getting through at least a day of usage now. I will say also, the only thing I've seen is, and you might have just seen it there, it's hard to tell on cameras, there has been some stuttering and glitchiness when you actually are running apps or just on the regular display trying to go through things and see what's going on. It significantly slows down the frame rate and looks very blocky and glitchy. It only lasts a split second or a half a second, but it is something that they need to address before this public release. And speaking of the public release, since this week, like I said in the introduction, is actually Thanksgiving here in the United States, there is no beta this week. Apple traditionally doesn't release one, but we originally thought we would be getting the final release on December 2nd. That looks to have been pushed now a little bit, at least one more week to the 9th. But next week we should receive the RC or release candidate build, as Beta 4 did have an A build number at the end of it. So as long as we get the RC and probably public beta tester releases on Monday or Tuesday, the 9th should be the actual full release of iOS 18.2 to the general public. So still has a little bit of work to be done. It still has been working much better and improving over the time of these beta cycles. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Let us know what you think down below. Have you been using 18.2? Has it been stable? Have you had any issues? Leave a comment, let us know, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.